Today we are going to talk about The Yellow Wallpaper by Charlotte Perkins Gilman. At first, it may seem like a simple story about a woman staying in a room with strange yellow wallpaper. But as the story continues, we realize that the wallpaper becomes a symbol of silence, control, and mental suffering. This story is haunting because it shows what happens when a woman's voice, creativity, and freedom are taken away. The Yellow Wallpaper is about a woman who is confined to a room because she is believed to be sick and in need of rest. Her husband, who is also a doctor, tells her not to work, not to write, and not to think too much. At first, the room seems like a place for recovery, but slowly, it starts to feel like a prison. The more she is forced to stay silent, the more trapped her mind becomes. The narrator of the story is unnamed. She is intelligent, observant, and creative, but no one truly listens to her. She wants to express her thoughts through writing, but she is discouraged from doing so. This is important because writing is one of the few ways she can understand herself. When that freedom is taken away, her emotional and mental struggle becomes even stronger. In the story, the narrator is placed under what is called the rest cure. This means she is expected to rest completely and avoid work, writing, and mental activity. But instead of helping her, this treatment makes her feel powerless. She is not allowed to make decisions about her own life or health. The rest cure becomes a symbol of control disguised as care. As the narrator spends more time in the room, she becomes obsessed with the yellow wallpaper. She studies its strange pattern every day. At first, it is just ugly and disturbing, but later she begins to feel that there is something hidden behind it. The wallpaper starts to reflect her own mental state, confused, trapped, and desperate to escape. Eventually, the narrator believes she sees a woman trapped behind the wallpaper. This figure becomes one of the most important symbols in the story. The trapped woman represents the narrator herself. She is confined, controlled, and unable to freely express who she is. When the narrator sees this woman, she is really seeing her own condition. The yellow wallpaper symbolizes confinement, repression, and the damage caused by silence and control. It represents the walls placed around the narrator's mind and life. The pattern of the wallpaper feels confusing and impossible to understand, just like the situation she is trapped in. It also shows how society can hide suffering behind the appearance of order and care. This story is important because it criticizes the way women's voices, health, and freedom were controlled. The narrator is not treated as someone who understands her own feelings. Instead, others decide what is best for her. Through this story, Gilman shows how dangerous it can be when a person is silenced and not believed. It is a powerful story about gender roles, mental health, and power. We should still read The Yellow Wallpaper today because its message remains relevant. It reminds us that mental health should be taken seriously. It also shows the importance of listening to people, especially when they are trying to explain their own pain. The story is psychological, symbolic, and powerful. Even today, it makes us think about identity, voice, and freedom. In one simple idea, The Yellow Wallpaper is a powerful story about a woman whose mind breaks under isolation, control, and silence. The wallpaper is not just decoration. It becomes a symbol of everything that traps her. That is why the story is still remembered today. It is haunting, meaningful, and deeply human. For more simple lessons about literature and stories, follow Lingualistica. See you in the next one.